This is an opinion, but something I've observed. We live in an age that's really focused on doing good and making a contribution. And I think that's actually a bit of a problem in many ways. I think it can take you away from yourself and where genuine goodness and decency lies. When I use the word decency, I don't mean that in a prudish sense. I mean basically just being good, recognizing that other people are real. Because I don't think you need to become a saint. I don't think that's the kind of imperative. It's more like just recognize that other people are real too and act accordingly. There's this pressure a lot of people feel to make a contribution or to work in an area that does that. And I don't know. I think maybe we need to step back from being so extreme about that, because one, I think it's false. I think it's usually a lot of bullshit that goes on, and it's like virtue signaling in a way through our work and so on. But also it's a bit of a cliche, and it's true, and I certainly hear about it a lot in my counselling work. People who are the head of different organisations and very well known for things, who are assholes personally. And that invites a few questions, and when people are so set on making a contribution and being good in that way, but actually are quite narcissistic interpersonally, it starts to suggest that really that emphasis on contribution and being good in that kind of righteous way is actually it's a kind of narcissistic form of goodness, a corruption of goodness. And it can also be, in people who aren't so pathological as that, a kind of avoidance of the real challenge, which is to be accepting of yourself and others. There's actually, I think it's a bigger challenge just to try and create a good, gratifying life for yourself that has no trumpets and no newspaper headlines. It's a quiet, private life that's gratifying, and to be kind. So I think it's a greater challenge to create a gratifying life and to be kind. I'm not saying you shouldn't be, starting and running some organisation that does something impactful if that's your vocation. I'm not denying that for a second. I'm not making an argument for a certain way of living. But what I'm saying is this extreme sort of emphasis that everybody has to be political or make a contribution or be doing this big thing and show how they're good in some sort of world-impacting way. I think there's a kind of pathology in that, or at least a kind of avoidance of the true substance of life. And so if we can't just appreciate and put into the centre of things the value of a private life that you've made good in a gratifying way, and where you're genuinely kind to those that you encounter every day. If that's not the centre of things, and if we're not doing that, then something's gone wrong. I think that needs to be the centre point, and then we move from there, because that's really about you being genuinely in life and genuinely decent and kind to others. And from there, if you want to go do these further things, that's the basis that you step from. It means that when you do these further things, you're genuinely extending your kindness rather than running away from yourself and creating a kind of pseudo bullshit narcissistic form of kindness, which may be just about, appearing good because that matters so much to you, to appear in front of others. That's just something I was talking about earlier with somebody, and I see this pressure on people. When I'm in counselling, I see this pressure on people to feel like they need to make a contribution, and I think that there's something quite wrong lying behind that. At the very least, just an error lying behind that, and that's what I'm suggesting.